The school is just an amazing place to gather the best people in the world and to have the privilege to now be able to take this resource and say, what more could we do with it? How else could we innovate? How could we continue this great tradition of the school? That to me is the opportunity that I've suddenly been handed, and I can't tell you how excited, but even yet humbled in some ways and honored I feel to have this opportunity. I'm Nitin Nohria, the new Dean of Harvard Business School. I think there's an extraordinary appetite in the world for Harvard Business School to show the way forward in terms of what the future of management education needs to look like. It's a school that has created some of the most powerful ideas in the world. In field upon field, this is a school that creates ideas that animate how people, the very language that people use to talk about business. The history of the school demonstrates that we have done an extraordinary job of preparing leaders for all walks of business life. We've had people who've gone on and had great careers as the leaders of large corporations. We've had students go on and become entrepreneurs. We've had students go out and become financiers. So from Wall Street to Main Street, from large companies to small companies, from the US to abroad, Harvard Business School has educated leaders who have gone out and made a difference in all manner of life. I remember when I came to the United States in 1984, I came because I was interested primarily in American business. American business was very much at the forefront of anything important that was going on in the world. But I think our students now expect to learn about business in all parts of the world, in China, in India, in Brazil, in Russia, and the emerging markets more broadly, but in Europe, in Africa. So as the epicenter of business has become more widely distributed around the world and important, exciting business ideas are being generated all over the world, Harvard Business School has to inevitably become more global, because we have to be the place that people can come to and feel that they're getting the world's best thinking, that they're learning about the world's most cutting-edge companies. And as those companies and as that thinking is becoming more global, Harvard Business School inevitably has to become even more global than it is today. In the last decade, almost half of our cases are now cases that are being developed of companies that are outside of the United States. So in every way, the school is becoming more global, and I think that just reflects the nature of business becoming more global. And since Harvard Business School has always been at the cutting edge of the practice of business, we are responding to that as we have always done. So I think there's a brand new set of challenges that the world will present to the business leaders who graduate from Harvard Business School. And what we have to do is to prepare our students to lead in this world, to contribute to this in this world, to create the prosperity that society expects business leaders to provide, and to play a role in making this happen. If we can do that, if we can deliver on that promise, if we can make the leaders we graduate be seen and be the kinds of people that people can look back and say, look at the difference that they made. Our alumni is in fact what the school is about. If you think about who owns the school, really it's the alumni who own the school, because they are the ones who carry the label, I'm a Harvard Business School MBA, I'm a Harvard Business School AMP, I'm a Harvard Business School OPM, I went to executive education at Harvard Business School. They really are the ambassadors of what the school stands for. And we're so proud of what our alumni are able to accomplish in the world, because it's through their accomplishments that the people on this faculty can feel proud. We have no other way of knowing whether we make a difference other than through what our alumni do. The intellectual life that we have at Harvard Business School is one of the great joys and treasures of the school. It's very much at the center of what a great university needs to be about, which is producing great ideas that actually have an impact on the world, that show up in our classrooms, that influence the other scholars who are a part of the academy. And Harvard Business School has been a great leader in this tradition as well. And it needs to be a leader in the research arena as much as it needs to be a leader in the classroom. So we have faculty members at the school who do amazing work in developing research that is published in the best academic journals in the world, influencing the way other academics think, shaping what the academy and other people who are the scholars, how they think about important problems in the world. We should never rest on our laurels. As great as the school has been, the challenges that leaders face in the world today become more demanding and more complex. And the school needs to prepare them and continue to prepare them in ways that will allow them to have the influence that they've had throughout our history. So I think the school does a great job, but we need to continue to innovate to ensure that we can say the same thing looking ahead as we have been able to say looking back. I grew up in India, and I grew up in many different cities in India, but the experience that I have of my childhood that is the most powerful experience that has shaped me is my relationship with my father, who was, in his generation, one of the first people who went out and got what was called professional business education and became a general manager and then progressively a CEO of increasingly larger companies in India. I remember as a child going out and visiting places in India where my father was often setting up a new plant. These were places where nothing existed before that moment, and then visiting back 8 or 10 years later and having seen extraordinarily vibrant communities develop around these factories where supplies had come, other factories had been assembled, jobs had been created. In fact, in some cases, whole townships had been formed. So this early experience of seeing through my father's example the extraordinary role that business could have in terms of shaping the prosperity of society and communities was one of the things that inspired me to think about getting into business myself and ultimately finding my own home as an educator of business leaders with the hope that I can educate leaders who can have the same impact that my father did on the communities that he was a part of as a businessman, for having shown that it's always possible to build a great enterprise and to do it with humanity.